I see a crack in the casting right here. Whew. Well guys, I goofed on this one a little bit. So in this video, we're going to be going through some of the repairs on this 10-foot brush hog. So unfortunately, I was just cutting our field for the last time this year, and this shaft, I hit a stump and sheared the bolt out of it, and it broke the bolt off, and well, we'll call it a stump jumper, but it's really just a bar, and the blades came flying off. So I was able to find them luckily, and you can see that that seal has actually been leaking pretty bad too for this gearbox up here. So I think I'm just going to pull this whole thing, and we'll see about getting those seals changed. Try to get this thing fixed up a little bit. Perfect fit. Just wedged in there. What I expected. Easy enough. All right, well, this was a good thought. I actually put like silicone on here to try to keep the grass and stuff out of this little area, but fortunately it doesn't look like it made much of a difference, but certainly a good effort. Good thought there. Probably redo it too. Not gonna hurt anything. You can see the seal leaking pretty good here, and you know, already leaking some of the oil out. So I'm gonna try and get that figured out. See if I can get these seals, see if I can find a part number on this gearbox. Looks like maybe just this seal out here. I'm not sure how many are gonna be behind it, but the real problem, so this stump jumper and set of blades is held on, just slips over this, and there's a keyway there. Lost the keyway, so I'll have to get another one of those. And then it's just a washer and this bolt, probably a 1/2-inch bolt or so, and unfortunately it broke off. So I'm gonna go drain the fluid out of this gearbox, and we'll see if we can weld a nut in here and get this bolt out. Okay, so I've got the fluid all drained out, and here's kind of what we're dealing with here. So here is our bolt broken off in there. Luckily it actually sheared that. I mean, it should shear the shear pin on the actual brush hog, but luckily it sheared this instead of breaking the actual gearbox itself. So I think what happened was I hit the stump and it hit the head of this bolt that's sticking out, and that's why it sheared off. Not so much that the blades hit something and caused any kind of stress in the gear system. So I have a couple nuts here. This one looks like it'll work, and we'll try and get this one welded on first. Okay, so that's just a small weld. we'll see if it's loose enough to come out. Usually it doesn't work unless you really weld it on there good. But obviously we'll have to see here first. So need a way to hold this without marring up that surface too much too. My cloth did not catch on fire. I was definitely expecting it to. Okay. Yeah, figures. Did not get any kind of penetration on the actual bolt. See, it's broken off just like 2 threads below the surface. Worst case, I drill it out. So, not the worst thing ever, but oh boy, actually, yeah. Just saw something disappointing here. So if you look down this housing on this gearbox, I see a crack in the casting right here, which is not good. So I'm wondering if that's not the cause of our leak. I don't know if I did that because it was leaking prior to me shearing this bolt off, but you know, who knows at this point. So that's unfortunate. I could try to weld that to just drill out the end here, throw a couple welds on there, but it would definitely deform this enough that I don't think a seal would make much of a difference. Even if I put a new one in, it could, but really you'd want to double check that if you weld it. But let's worry about getting this bolt out and pull the seals, because if we weld that, it's going to destroy the seals anyway. I have a better bite this time. Oh, well, it's going. Just slipped off with the ratchet, the vice grips here. Woo. Okay, so next up, I'm going to pull this seal, because I'm going to get seals for this thing anyway. And we'll see how it looks like, and if I can actually get this crack tack welded a little bit, because I can see that it's building up a leak on the actual crack itself. So I know this crack is leaking. Another pair of ratchet, and these are just standard metal screws. I want to see if I can get 2 started in here and then use the vice grips to yank them out. At least it's soft metal. All right, let's stick these vice grips on here. Oh, well, something's going on. I think it's just a washer. What piece is this? This is just like some kind of washer. Oh yeah, it's coming up. It's just like the exact size for the shaft. Which makes sense, it's not the seal, because Now that I'm looking at it, it actually goes down through the keyway, so I'm hoping this is part of the seal kit though. More like a wear plate. For what it is, couldn't have happened at a better time. Whew. That's a good one. Okay, so next up, it looks like we have the actual seal. So it's already coming out actually. There's our cover for the seal. And there's our actual seal, which I don't necessarily think was bad now. I think this crack is what was really getting us. And our bearing there, I don't know. Seems like it has a lot of play. Still a little hot. Maybe not a lot, but let's say a 16th radial. Yeah, easily a 16th of an inch radial play in there. I mean, everything else looks good. So luckily, after just a few minutes of Googling, I was able to find this German Bliss website here. And I'm 99% sure this is our gearbox. This is a Woods 120 gearbox. And you can see it has our spindle there with the keyway and the bolt hole going up through it tapped. And what we're looking for down here is 10 and 11. That's our seal in the washer. And 19, I didn't see that come off of mine, but I'm not sure what it is. But not too bad, because just coming down here, we have 10 and 11. Here's the seal, and it's 2.12 by 3 and 3/8 of an inch thick, which makes sense. So I'll double check that real quick. Here's the part number if anyone ends up needing it, W11010. And then 11 is the washer. Still debating whether or not I'm going to get another one of those. I mean, that one's still good. I just had the 2 holes drilled in it, so I don't think that's really going to matter since it's just a wear surface. 1 5/8 ID, 3-inch OD, and part number is 11056. And that's for part number 19. They're calling that a gearbox washer retainer. And the first 2 parts were $10 each, and this is $17.50, so not too bad. This retainer is 25365, so I don't know about getting that. Maybe I should. They also have the bearing in here, but I don't think I necessarily need that either. Still in good shape, as long as I can get this welded or sealed up without damaging it anyway. Okay, so I got those seals ordered. I think it was like $30 with shipping, so not too bad. So the next thing I want to do is just drill this crack out here and hit it with the angle grinder to try to seal this up with the welder. So first thing I'm going to do is just kind of hit it with the cutting wheel here on the angle grinder, see if I can find the end of this crack, and then I'll drill out the end. Okay, so lucky for me, I believe the crack ends right there. So unfortunately that's, way below the bearing there, so that's not very helpful, but still, at least it's an easy place that I can drill out accessibly. So I'll drill that out, I'll grind out this a little bit, and then we'll see if we can get some weld in there without overheating this too much and warping it, because I definitely don't want to distort this housing. Okay. The point of drilling out the very end of the crack is it reduces the stress concentration from a single point to a rounded radius. Should be deep enough. I don't necessarily want to go all the way through. I mean, you probably should in most cases, but I think that's going to make more problems for leaking if I can't get it 100% sealed up. So, okay. I'm just gonna grind a little groove in this for something to take the weld, and we should be good to go. Okay, so like I said here, just kind of chase this crack with the angle grinder, and you can see it actually starts to end right in here, so not necessarily as bad as I thought, but all right, we'll get this welded up, and hopefully it makes a nice seal. Well, I can still see a good bit of the crack there, so I think I'm just going to run one more quick pass over that. Okay, well, that's certainly better. I can't necessarily see the crack anymore, but before we put this back on, we'll fill it with some fluid and actually watch it and see if we have any leaks. Worst case, we could just fill it with grease, but since I already had to take this out, I prefer not to do that. You know, if this was just leaking by itself, I probably would have just filled it with grease, but since I had to take it out to fix this bolt anyway, I'm going to try to do this right. So we'll leave that sit for a minute and try to might as well clean up our washer a little bit while we're here too. And there we go. It's $10 saved. Okay, well, that pretty much does it for this guy until the seals come in. So I will hopefully have those within the next 5 to 7 business days, and we will get back to installing those, and then we'll test this thing out. The only other thing I need is, yeah, look at all that radio play. Terrible. I'll need a keyway because I lost the keyway, and we'll need a bolt for this. So I need to figure out what size bolt that was, as well as the washer. So, all right, so then I'll catch up with you guys once we get those parts. Well, that wasn't too bad. Pretty much just got this gearbox put back in, just straightforward, just how it came out. Recaulked around the bottom, how they had before, just because I thought that was a nice idea. And the final step here, wanted to show this since it was somewhat more of a pain, but just have the brush hog attachment here halfway up on the jack, and then I was able to balance the other side. So about to put this bolt in, and it goes in just like this. So it's nice to be able to get this keyway in here and then slide it up on pretty easily. And then the bolt goes in just like this, but I'll throw some red Loctite on there and we should be good to go. So we get this in, and I'd like to test it out, but unfortunately the tractor is giving me a hard time right now. It's leaking some fluid, so I don't know if I'll be able to test it, but we'll see, I suppose. It hurts to be a little generous with the Loctite on something like this. And the other side's actually welded. The other side, they welded this bolt onto the washer. So I'm gonna go grab a lock washer as well to put on here. We have our giant nut here to hold this on. We have a smaller grade 8 washer, a grade 8 lock nut, lock washer, and then our grade 8 bolt, torqued down to I don't know, probably 100 foot-pounds. So I'll crawl out of here and get this thing lowered down, see how it goes. All right, well, now that that's on there, I've been having a leak on the tractor over here. for another video to fix. I think it's the front seal there. So I'm not going to be able to test this right now because I don't want to run the PTO when the fluid's getting low, and if I put more in, it's just going to leak out. So I'm going to call this fixed for now, and then when we get the tractor fixed, we'll give it a test drive. But at least for now, it doesn't look like my gearbox is losing oil, but we'll look at it again once we actually get this thing running. But yeah, I think this repair's as good as it's going to get for now, and we'll hopefully try it again next year whenever the grass starts to grow. Obviously it's fall now, so this will be the last cut for this season. But yeah, so I think that's about it for this one, and I'm going to call this one done for now, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.